Got about 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
All right, we got about 1 minute.
Okay.
30 seconds. I'll give you a countdown.
Sure.
And I'll just introduce you, and we'll just get right into it.
Sure.
And good morning. We are live here on Middleboro in review. It is the 26th of September 2021. We have a guest on today, and his name is Ray LaPrey from the Middleboro Food Pantry, the St. Vincent de Paul Food Pantry. Good morning, Ray. How are you? I am doing great today. Thank you for coming on once again to talk about the food pantry with us. So my first question is we got another season done here. The summer season is over. What are some of the things that the food pantry has done during the summer months?
We just finished with the giveaway for child's school supplies. donated like 65 backpacks full of school supplies for kids. And those were all gone by the third day of classes. It's just kind of an outreach thing we do. We're still continuing outdoor food pantry or rolling food pantries. We're doing those for the veterans in middleboro on the third Tuesday of every month. And we're also doing some periodically at St. Patrick's up in Brockton for one of the poor outfits that we have in the area.
So I'm gonna put Don's mic up here, and he's gonna say good morning.
Good morning, Ray. How you doing? Not good. I mean, good. I'm sorry, good. Not good. What are you talking about? 3 sips of the coffee, so we're kind of doing all right. I'm very happy that you're on board and talking with Joey. I want a quick question. Can I ask one quick question, Joe?
Yes.
As far as the fuel assistance, I work for an oil company for the last 25, 26 years, so we've dealt with a lot of fuel assistance. Is that going to be going on too? You guys going to be taking care of that over the winter season coming up?
Yes, we do. We have a full assistance program that runs every year. What we do is we get confirmation that a client needs help, and we meet with them in person. Once we arrange for a company, usually in our area, it's always something from the local area that covers the 4 towns. We dispatch them. We pay for it ahead of time. We go out to the company and pay for them with a credit card. That's ours. And the customer has very little input. All they have to do is wait for the tank of oil to come in.
Does the oil company give you guys a little bit of break as far as being part of the food pantry and the charity?
Well, they've always done great with charities, so that's one of the reasons we picked them. And they were the lowest one in the area that we could find that would deliver to all 4 towns. And that's the reason they were chosen.
Yeah, when I was working in Abington for an oil company, and we were dealing with the St. Vincent de Paul in Abington, and that was who we dealt with. And the owner of that particular company, he because he felt he wanted to get back to the community. He gave a really good price. I think he was 10 or 20 cents over cost, and that really went far for the people, and it really helped out the charity too. So it was more and more. And I remember doing a lot of deliveries, and I had mostly Whitman, Rockland, Abington, and it was hit or miss. Like, some people would need it at some point, and then they'd drop it, and they'd be fine because they'd be back on their feet. But I mean, I worked there for 14 years, and we did it all 14 years. I was at this oil company, and I could see how it helped people, because I could see people's situation to a certain degree just by delivering to their house and see if they got one car or whatnot. But it really helps with the oil companies on board, and it's really, it wants to help a little bit. Because it's not a whole bunch of their customers, it's a small percentage, but those customers remember you, and they'll always, even if they get off the assistance or whatnot, they'll always keep that oil company, because that was the case with a lot of the customers I dealt with. You start out under St. Vincent de Paul, a charity, and they get back on their feet a couple years later, and they stick with you forever because you were there, and your money, your dollar went further with particular oil companies. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we see a lot of the same people. Every other year they can come and visit, and it's usually we'll provide $200, and we'll get the matching funds from our corporate headquarters for another $200.
Okay.
So it matches, and there's only $100 minimum, everywhere we go. So it's a win-win. The families feel great about it. We feel good about helping, and it's usually during the worst part of the year when you can least afford it. So
Right.
to us, we're glad to help, and so are the people involved, and all the volunteers and the companies that work together. It's just a terrific program.
Yes. Yeah, I remember, it's been going on for years, and it's, like I said, it's really impacted people's lives, in a positive way. And that's one thing that I always thought was a great idea. And the pricing too. I mean, who knows what the price of oil? I know from working, it's gone up a little bit, but it's you cannot predict what the oil's going to do, and it's so you don't know. Maybe from year to year, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah, we can find out, like, just one hurricane in the down south can take out all the refineries and prices go up 30 cents within 2 weeks.
Right.
So
Yep.
even something a long way off can hurt us locally too.
Yeah, you always pray.
We have to stay cognizant of that.
Yeah, you always pray to the end of hurricane season, and you can kind of like let the guy down a little bit, but you never can.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. So get that off my chest.
No problem. No problem. So we're heading into the cooler months. We talked about the fuel assistance. That's one of the things you guys are offering this winter. What are some other things that you guys will be doing this winter?
Say it again, Joe?
What is some other events that you might be holding this winter?
Well, we're going to do a stuff the truck facility. We're doing a food drive in Shaw's in Carver in 2 weeks. That usually stuffs the pantry for a couple of months and gets us over to the winter season when everybody feels good about donating, the pantry through Christmas. So that's one of our biggest events of the year. So that's going to be going through the entire Columbus Day weekend down in Shaw's in Carver. If anybody wants to show up, be glad to have you.
That sounds.
We're still going to be doing the veterans food drives until all the food runs out. We're still going to do 2 more at least.
And what day do you have that event in Carver in 2 weeks? Is it going to be on a Saturday or a Sunday or?
Friday afternoon, all day Saturday, and most of Sunday until 3 in the afternoon.
So those dates are what?
That would be Columbus Day weekend. Hold on.
Yeah.
Pull that
Okay,
up
my
for you.
trusty calendar. Yeah, that's
9, 10, 11.
9, 10, 11. Yeah, got it right here.
Yep.
And what are the hours you got to be there? Yeah, you could.
On Friday, we're going to be there from noon to closing. Saturday, all day. And Sunday, opening until 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, okay. So noon to closing, meaning what time they close at 9 or 8 or whatever. Yeah.
It's usually 5 o'clock in the afternoon because we don't want to be open in the dark.
Right. Okay. So closing. When you meant closing, when you guys close, not the store, right? Still bad.
Those closing hours are for the volunteers, not for the store.
And
Hours are much longer.
and then Saturday all day, pretty much.
Saturday all day, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. That's something Joey could be. You can preach that the next couple of weeks. They got people, drop by. Carver Shaw's, right? The one right there next to CVS Plaza. I understand.
Right on Route 58.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure Joey will be talking about that and
Absolutely, yeah.
got another show. Joey, but he's been filling in for another show on Thursdays, Middleboro Matters. And I think we're hoping that Jack and Lauren come back soon. Well, we heard that may be the case, but if you have any updates or whatever, feel free to call him, maybe on that show or something like that, or get a hold of Joey. Anything new, let us know, and he can tell everybody out there if anything pops up that you want to get out. I think, right, Joe?
Yes, I mentioned the food, the drive-through for veterans on another show as well. Ask Your Veterans Agent, what airs on Tuesdays at noon. So we mentioned the food pantry quite a bit on the station.
And any call, even the veteran show, I'm sure they'd like a call, right? They wouldn't mind a call. If it's veterans or whatnot.
Absolutely, yes.
Veterans related, sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, so you got all these outlets, and then Joey's been running the commercial. So hopefully, with all this cooperation from everybody, it seems like everything's a success over there, and you seem to be really running the ship really well. And even calling in on a Sunday morning and talking to us when most people are sleeping means that you I think a lot of people will look at yourself and say, this guy really wants us to work. He wants us to work. He's getting up. He's doing everything. And I look at some people and they had something, but they couldn't be bothered for an early interview or something like that. And it's just you look, and people tend to look at that and say, "Man, well, how come?" But I mean, I think you talked to us five times already. You had the other individual. Who was the other individual you had on last time? Yeah, right. So. Right, but I mean, you haven't missed any of the stops, and that's good. So all the listeners know this. This guy's really. These people are really trying. So I think hopefully, all hands on deck. I think this might be really good, and we get even better.
So, we're gonna take a quick break. Can you stick with us for a few more minutes? Absolutely. Okay. So when we get back from the commercial break, we're gonna talk a little bit about. So we talked about some of the events going on, coming up. We also talked about some other things. When we come back, maybe we'll talk about some other things that you might want to talk to the listeners about. So, we will be right back here on Middleboro in Review. Today is September the 26th, 2021, the final Sunday in the month of September. We will be right back after these messages. All right, we're on a commercial break. We got about 3 minutes or so.
All right, I gotta blow my nose anyway.
Perfect timing, huh, Ray?
Yeah.
Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association is an association of combat veterans from all branches of the United States Armed Forces who ride motorcycles as a hobby. Our mission is to support those who have defended our country in freedom. Our focus is to help
Yeah, I was really worried, Joey.
Yeah. Yeah. Just next time, just tell me to follow you. Well, that's all.
I guess you're right. I guess Prison Street beats the other way. I can't believe you beat me.
Prison Street's nice.
I did wait at the end of the ramp to see you were coming around.
If it was daytime.
Well, I said, well, not really daytime. I thought maybe you wouldn't take Precinct Street because it wasn't really daytime.
Well, there's no one on the roads, so.
Yeah, there was no one on the road this morning. Wow.
Yeah.
Eerie.
It is. It's a little weird that there's no one on the roads.
If you're a parent, you overreact, especially when it comes to your child.
Yeah.
You know.
Let me check this 335. What's this other one? Okay, I don't know if that particular one is a new one or what. 335. I'll check it. Has new there's another high school football game, but I don't know if they changed it. I'll find out in a second.
Well, even if it's old, it's like play through of them.
Yeah. And I'll just make that correction
Yeah.
on there. Big deal.
Perfect. Christmas just did that.
Yeah.
When do you think he did that?
He probably did that. probably did that on Saturday. Oh, so we did two birds and one stone right
Good.
there. Nice. 2-0. Enter. Bumper. Okay. All right. All right, going back on the air in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we are back here on Middleboro in Review as I put everyone's mic back up here, and we are going into the next segment of Middleboro in Review. So, my next question for Ray is, other than the events that you may have mentioned already, the fuel assistance, I think you mentioned some Christmas events going on as well, and some other stuff. What are some other things that you may want to tell the listeners that are important?
And also for rent. And what we tell people for rent is to make access of the RAFT program, RAFT. That's really important to them to get like at least 3 months of housing or 3 months of rent payment, for free. That's real important. We will be helping with electricity and as many different things as we can. We also started providing fuel assistance for people who can't make their medical appointments, Joe. We found out that's a big need in the industry, and everywhere. People trying to make appointments in Boston, it's not easy to drive to, and it's very expensive if you have to pay out of pocket for that transportation. So we've been providing gasoline to try to make ends meet there. What else are we helping with? Right now we're helping with a lot of the electrical problems that are coming through. The moratoriums are over. Trying to find affordable housing is the biggest problem in the area, bar none. We can also help with like bedding. We now have a new bedding program that's coming out. We just unrolled our new fuel assistance program. All the parameters for that have been rolled out at the next meeting. What else is going to be happening here? We're going to be doing sign-ups for Thanksgiving meals this year. We're going to have that program going on. We're going to have the same one for Christmas and another one for Easter. And we're going to have a giving tree, which is providing Christmas presents to families who usually couldn't afford it on their own. Somebody gets the list of the stuff that they would like, pulls that ornament off the tree, and goes shopping for that family. So that's going to be happening soon as well. All this is going to be in the local papers. It's going to be advertised.
So, Don. Any last questions you may want to ask Ray?
Yeah, you've been talking about as far as transportation for people who don't have vehicles. Do you have volunteers who? Do you have some volunteers who may take people to their medical, to the doctors and their appointments?
We're not providing drivers, but we'll provide passes for a livery service.
Okay, right.
Or for gasoline at certain gas stations, we have agreements with where we refill up our own tanks.
Oh, okay, and then
So
somebody.
we have an agreement with one of the merchants in town for gasoline.
Oh, okay, great. And
The resultant bill at the end of every month.
And okay, yeah, that sounds good. And do you, as far as some of these gas stations, do they try to give you maybe a discount, or do you even go there? I mean, it's nice enough, but do like.
We found that it's like the lowest price in town to begin with.
Okay, right. So you just kind of eyeball on their price, and then they say, okay, we can live with that, and then they just go with that. That's probably a good idea because you drive around, gas is between 30-40 cents difference in some places. You go around a corner and someone's getting 40 more cents than you would get it down the street. So, so,
Usually run between $500 and $800 every month.
right.
That's just for the 40 trucks that we're using. Never mind when people are running around just doing something in their own car.
Right, and that'd be like a one-shot deal or whatnot, you know. So as far as you don't like have volunteers. So if someone said that I'd want to drive somebody and I'd pay for my own gas. It's just is that like a liability thing as far as HIPAA laws and stuff? Right. Well, it's like you keep it in house in a way, right? You gotta keep it in house, right? Because
Local taxi service, and like if somebody can't even drive home from the pantry with their groceries,
right,
provide the taxi, and we'll pay for that at the end of the month.
right, and the taxi business is insured, and so everything's covered. There's right, yeah, because you'd hate to have some sort of lawsuit over something that might have gone awry, and then that just takes away from the mission. So just that I've heard that too, because I've talked to people, and sometimes it's best to keep everything in house. And I'm sure you've tried it. I knew I was thinking that you would tell me that we tried it, but it just didn't work. I mean, it was. Right. Oh yeah. Right. Right. And then somebody who might volunteer might have the right intentions, but then they might run into a situation where the person they're picking up might be difficult to deal with because of their mental whatever their situation or whatever, and then a conflict might occur, and I usually cab companies and Ubers are more professional because they do it all the time, so they know how to deal with people and somebody. So I could see why you'd want to keep it in the house. That's just an interesting question as far as that. I'm sure if everyone was on board, you'd go a lot further. But like I said, it's just you just have one thing go awry that could knock you back down a little bit. So. Sure. Oh yeah, with all the time you want, sir.
Yes.
We just finished our freezer program where we gave away freezers to families that need it, because a lot of them don't have a way of storing any frozen foods. We just finished our 20th freezer yesterday.
Wow.
So, and if we still have a need, we're going to keep buying more as we go along. So a lot of these people are desperate. We say, how come you're not picking any frozen food off the menu? A big menu on the walls. And well, I just don't have a way to store frozen foods. I don't have a freezer. They didn't have a freezer at all. So we've been providing free of charge either 3.5 cubic foot or 5 cubic foot freezers to anyone who asks, free of charge.
Wow.
Yep. If they leave within town within the next 2 years, they have to leave it behind for the next needy family. But that's the only prerequisite. And we also give them the instructions, how they're expected to take care of it, and we also give them the warranty information card because they're brand new.
Brand new freezers.
Yep.
Wow. So that's new. Is that kind of new?
The last couple of months, we were shocked at how fast they went, but we're going to be buying more.
Well, in the long run, I think when people can store food, they're not going to waste it as much. They can freeze it. I mean, so hopefully in the long run, your food budget will go further for other people, meaning they can store their meats and whatever they need to store, and they'll have it. They don't have to. So. Right. Right, right, right. And the handling on your behalf too, on your end, you don't have to handle as much loaves of bread than you normally would if because and then yeah, that's a great idea. Who thought of that? You? That- that's a great one. Yeah, that's awesome. So you guys are throwing all these ideas in. It just it's amazing all the different um, programs you have and you event as far as what it's been. I mean, since we first talked last year in last spring, I mean it's really come a long way. I think, in my opinion, as far as what you guys have done with the pantry and all the avenues and all the services. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, and it's been good that we've been able to keep in touch with you guys, have you guys on every couple of months to talk about any new things that might be coming up, because it's been really important to get that information out to people in need during the pandemic.
Yeah, especially
Access stopped.
yes.
So a couple of weeks ago, we were at an all-time low for clients in a day, and yesterday we had, I think, 32 or 33 families come in. So that's a pretty large uptick in a couple of weeks' time.
Well, the federal money stopped, so even if people are still collecting, they're missing out on that $300 a week, which helps a lot. So I think we've seen a lot of that, and then a lot of people on their second run on the unemployment, I think, just ended altogether. So
About half of the people that come in to volunteer are also clients.
oh wow,
We have good intel on the ground, so to speak, so we know how people are thinking out there,
right,
and we know why they're acting the way they're acting. Like, how come you haven't spent money on this? There's no real logic to figure out what's going to be happening in the future as far as like homelessness or poverty goes. It's like grabbing a tiger by the tail, trying to hang on and figure out what's going to happen next with poverty.
right, and I think if people trying to get on their feet or whatnot, it's still the same elephant in the room as far as if they have a vehicle, the registrations are still high. The excise, you still got Massachusetts still has excise that they didn't waive during the pandemic. They kept that going. I figured that they would have waived that. Registrations are still high. Inspection stickers are still high. So a lot of the tolls they're still high. There's just so much that.
Speed yet.
Right.
It's almost impossible with a record to get a job in this kind of environment. Can you imagine, even in a regular time, it's tough to get a job as a convict. Now, when the unemployment rate is so out of kilter, it's a lot tougher for an ex-con to find a job and get his footing or her footing in this environment.
Well, it seems like all the mechanisms they set up and I think the intentions are good as far as safety and whatnot. It just seems to just blow up in people's faces because there's too much hurdles to get through. It's just like, remember years ago, back in the '80s, you always used to see baby on board. Remember that? Okay, and that was a great idea. It's just say, okay, you got a baby, but then it got out of control. It's just there was musician on board, drummer on board, and then they looked at it, and everyone looked at it, and it was alien. They didn't. It wasn't a warning anymore. So that first intent was gone. Same with backup alarms in trucks. You put a backup alarm on trucks, it's great. But now backup alarms are on everything. When you go to any places like a big box store and they're moving a forklift around, now you're just alien to it. Now you ignore it. Car alarm. So it's something that was intentionally good to start with. It's got ruined because I don't know. It's just because it got ruined because of those because of what I mentioned. It's just, so as far as like, if the state really wanted to help, I think maybe they, people in a certain tax bracket or whatnot, people who were hurt can maybe waive their excise tax, or maybe waive their registration or stuff like that. Insurance companies always got to make you pay, whatever. But I just think it's, it takes like $300 or $400 to register your car, and the title is still $75. Sales tax is still, what's it, 6.9 or 7, whatever. We have a high sales tax. You got to pay that. Excise tax is high, so it just it really doesn't help. And by the state, I'm not jumping on the state, whatever state's the state, but I really thought they should have dropped the excise tax in 20 when no one was working. They still made people pay, and they still hit the penalties if people were late. So it's I mean, whatever. I'm kind of going down another road, but it just goes to show that there's still a lot of costs that people shouldn't have to pay if they're struggling.
Mental increases that are hurting everybody. When you go to do groceries and it's $50 more a week, that's something everybody can equate with.
Right.
We all identify with that.
Right.
So that's why we're trying to get people back into the pantry. Look, spend your money somewhere else, but come and get your free groceries with us.
Right.
Spend it into another important area, like electricity or propane or your phone or whatever. That's more important.
Right.
That's what we try to drill home to everybody. It doesn't always work, but that's the message we try to get across to everybody every week.
Right. And like I said, is if you're late on your excise tax, it's triple, it's quadruple. It's just, I mean, right. And I don't know. I think if they realize people are laid off, I don't know. I think they should. I really think the Wolves should just like back off a little bit with these people, because they're in a situation where they just can't catch up. So, I just think a lot of people are doing their part, and I think there's a lot of lip service from government agency. They're doing their part, but I don't think they are. They'll help in one corner, but then they'll just tax you on the other corner, and they'll keep these systems going. And then it's the same thing. It's just all evens off. It doesn't make sense sometimes. But I'm.
Way or another.
Oh yeah, they'll get it. But I'm just saying it's just. But if they fall, but the thing is, if it's so bad, and then they can't even afford to drive their car because they can't register it because they didn't have the money to pay the excise tax, and then now they can't register it. Now they got to come up with all sorts of money, and then they can't drive their car, and then they lose it. I bet that happens everywhere. Just those scenarios. I can't drive it. Oh, well, I got to drive it. I got to go to work, and then you end up getting pulled over, and then a car's towed, and then you lose your. I don't know. I wonder how many scenarios out there that are like that. Just when people just can't afford the register car and pay the excise tax and all these extra bells and whistles we have to pay in Massachusetts as far as all that. It's just some people just fall into a trap and they can't get out. And then if you can't drive your car to work, then how you gonna get to work? You can't afford Ubers. So I don't know. It's just.
Car gets stolen and it was destroyed during the police pursuit. I'm like, that's not something we usually help with.
Right.
We don't usually do repairs to cars.
Right. No. Yeah.
Request this week to bury the dead.
Wow.
That's how low things. That's how tight things are gotten. I had 2 requests for help paying for a cremation.
Right.
That's where we are right now as a society.
Right. Yes.
So if anybody wants to help, we'd love to have more people come in and volunteer and donate their time.
That's the thing. I just think people, maybe if someone's listening, might have a repair shop or whatever, and I don't know. Like I said, you have to stay in house to a certain degree. It's just to make things run smooth. You you can't branch out too much because I just well, you want to do what you have. You want to do what you do good, and you have been. You don't want to branch out too much and have issues. So.
He takes care of us in a way that's best.
Right. But yeah.
We have a lot of faith in him, and everything will work out.
I think so, and people do God's work, and people are kind. I tend to tip. I'm a heavy tipper. My mother was in the restaurant business all her life, and she says always take care of your people. So I tip heavy. I always tip heavy. Maybe a little too heavy, but I'm sure the people who work in those jobs, appreciate it. They might need the money. They've been out of work for 8 months, longer than that. Some of these restaurants I ain't back on their feet yet. Yeah. So me and Joey talked about a couple weeks ago about the talent in restaurants, that a lot of this good talent had to go and find other jobs because they just couldn't hang on that long. So now you have cooks and waiters who aren't as talented, but they're working on it. And my first reaction, if you go to a restaurant and you get a bad reaction, you're like, oh, I'm not gonna come back. But you kind of have to give them a second, third, fourth chance because they're working on it. And especially if it's a restaurant that you frequent and you always liked it and whatever. You got to give these people a chance because they're working their way out of the hole as far as everything.
Opening talk where you try to put yourself in their shoes.
Right.
Like trying to come up with food for the table, clothing for the kids. It's a 24-hour-a-day job. And these moms and dads, they live with this 24 hours. It's a very tough burden to carry.
Right.
So if they get upset, we have to understand that, and they're not upset with us. They're upset with their circumstances per se, and we have to be very cognizant of that fact.
No, yeah. I mean, you got to approach it in that matter too. I think as far as what they're feeling, and not to fly off the handle too. It's just.
Situation they're in, you just have to take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
You
right.
can't get mad at them.
Right, and sometimes just dialect, just talking, always diffuses the situation as far as dealing with people. Usually, if I talk to somebody and they're mad or whatever, there's certain words you can say just to ease them down. Two people flying off the handle isn't going to help anybody. So. Right.
They don't need discipline. They just need to get it off their chest and to feel better.
Right. Well, exactly. Relief valve, actually.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's what they're looking for. Is just a sympathetic ear and somebody who cares.
Right.
And usually that makes the biggest. It makes more of a difference than a bag full of groceries.
Right. But if they're coming to you, they know you care because you're volunteering your time and all your talent and effort to help. So I think most people, I'm not saying everybody, but most people would.
Grateful and
That's great.
loving, caring people. The people that come in and see us are wonderful folks.
That must make you feel good. That there's.
It's worth all the effort. There's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Making a real difference in people's lives, and you can see it. It's a lot easier to feel good.
I was going to ask you if you ever had a chance, maybe me and Joey could come by and see how you guys do everything behind the scenes, and maybe we could report on it. At some point.
We'd love to do that.
Would that be all right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that'd work. Yeah, as long as Joey isn't working here, we could.
I am working on Saturdays.
Oh, you're not here on it?
Unfortunately, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Wednesdays, I am free. Yes.
Yeah. All right. All right.
Okay.
That works. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't mind just getting eyeball on it, and we could see for ourselves how everything works out. Yeah, I'd love to have you too. I think I think I don't think I've ever met you. We only did all just radio. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe when it boils down a little bit, everyone's vaccinated here, so whatever. But hopefully we can get you in the studio. You know, and yeah. So yeah, that helps a lot, huh? Yeah, I hear you. Okay, Joey.
All right. The last thing I want to ask is there. Tell us how to get in contact with the food pantry if anyone wants to get food.
Number on our hotline, it is 508-947-1717. That's our hotline number.
All right. Thank you so much, Ray. I appreciate you calling in, and we hope to see you soon on a Wednesday sometime in the future.
Ray, good talking to you. It's always a pleasure, and thank you for your time on this early Sunday morning.
Thank you so much, Ray.
Have a great week. Thank
Yep.
you very much. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right.
Ray LaPrey, right?
That is Ray, yes, from the St. Vincent de Paul Food Pantry. And I want to thank him for calling in today. And it is 7:50, so we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we return, we're going to have Today in History and things like that. And weather, because I wanted to get to the weather. So we'll do that after, and a little bit of a sports segment if we have time to. So let's do that. Commercial break right now. Middleboro Review, 15:30 a.m., 99.7 FM, September 26th, 2021. Just back onto that.
Oh, you back on set? You definitely Saturdays forever?
Yeah, I'm back on Saturdays. Yes.
This starting this Saturday, right?
Starting this Saturday, yeah. So I am doing 8 to 10.
8 to 10.
8 to 10, yeah. Okay, so now I need
What,
to.
they got the Rosary and Talking Birds, or just Talking Birds and Talking Birds a half hour,
Yeah,
and then the Rosary.
yeah.
St. Vincent de Paul of Sacred Heart Church in Middleboro serves the residents of the towns of Middleboro, Lakeville, Carver, and Rochester. Our hours of operation.
It's weird. All right, we're back.
What?
Had to log into my Gmail.
What?
It gave me a two-factor authentication thing,
What?
so I had to
Facebook?
access.
Your Facebook?
No, my Gmail
Oh.
on this computer here.
Oh.
Usually it doesn't do that. Usually it just lets me log in, but it gave me a two-factor authentication thing today, so I had to go to my Gmail app real fast. But we're good. I hope everyone enjoyed our guest calling in.
508-735-7966 or email tjdiggs@gmail.com.
Okay,
You will not be disappointed.
131.
The Centers for
3, 2,
Disease
1.
Control and Prevention is now recommending that fully vaccinated people begin wearing masks indoors again in places with high COVID-19 transmission rates. The agency is also recommending that children wear masks in schools this fall. Federal health officials still believe fully vaccinated individuals represent a very small amount of transmission. Still, some vaccinated people could be carrying higher levels of the virus than previously understood and potentially transmitted to others. The updated guidance comes ahead of the fall season when the highly contagious Delta variant is expected to cause another surge in new coronavirus cases. In areas with substantial and high transmission, the CDC recommends fully vaccinated people wear masks in public, indoor settings to help prevent the spread of the Delta variant and protect others. The CDC recommends that everyone in grade school wear masks indoors, including teachers, staff, students, and visitors, regardless of vaccination status. For more information, visit cdc.gov. Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, listen in for the best in local talk radio. It's Coffee with Tony. Join host Tony Lopes for 3 hours of talk, guest interviews, and much
Good
more.
morning, Scott.
Tuesday a.m.
Good morning, Paul.
Your home
And good morning, Patrick.
AM
Patrick Hussey?
Yep.
and
Nice.
99.7 FM WBBF.
Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association is an association of combat veterans from all branches of the United States Armed Forces who ride
And-
motorcycles as a hobby.
Yeah, Scott.
Is to support
Dad did sound a little bit like a sound echo chamber. A little bit. The beginning there. I think I had rectified it towards the end. When I shut my mic off, the guest and Dawn can be heard. So I just, when Dawn was the one speaking, I just made sure my mic was on. So
I thought I heard that.
yeah, a little
I
bit,
thought I heard that.
little bit.
But you're doing that just for the Facebook people, right?
Yeah, just for the Facebook.
I think that's why you need to get your camera and just film these and just, I don't know.
Yeah. I know.
Sound like an echo chamber on...
Well, no, just to the Facebook people.
Oh, not the radio station.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Not the people on the radio.
Yeah.
Just the people on the Facebook.
Yeah, that's...
Which is, it's okay. We're trying to figure that out. But I think I had rectified it during the interview, and I just kept my mic on when Dawn was speaking and everything else. All right, let me get my mic back on and everything else here.
I can't rant. 4 minutes.
Yeah.
No rant for Donnie.
And we're back here on Middleboro. In review, it is the 26th of September 2021, the final Sunday of the month. Let's do weather real quick. Okay, so the weather in Middleboro, let me refresh this. Weather in Middleboro is 63 degrees. Rain in the forecast, off and on today. 75 for the high, 49 for the low. We're going to be seeing lower 40s later on in the week. Thursday night, 45 for the low. Taunton, 62 degrees. Let me refresh that real quick. 63 degrees currently. 75 for the high today. Driscoll, North Dakota, let me refresh this. 53 right now. 82 for the high. 90 coming up. 90 degree day. 92 coming up. So, great weather. And Driscoll, Texas, 61 degrees. 91 for the high today, and some good weather up until Wednesday, and then they have some rain Wednesday to Sunday in Driscoll, Texas. All right, so we have this day in histories. We have a couple today in histories. 1969, Abbey Road, the last recorded album by the Beatles, is released on this day, September 26th, 1969, and shortly thereafter, the Beatles would be no more. Paul McCartney went on to form Wings. John Lennon had a solo career.
And the Let It Be album came out in 1970.
Let It Be? Oh, so there was another album?
There was Lionel. Yeah. There was
Okay,
Let
so...
It Be, but I'm not sure if they released that album when they were broke up. I thought Let It Be, but I don't know. I remember them doing it sort of live.
It
But
says
you know what,
Abbey... Well, Abbey,
Right
it says
there.
here, Abbey Road, the last recorded album by the
You got
Beatles.
the beat-
So 1970, it must have been they released it after they broke up.
Well, the guru to ask is Scott Mullen right there. He's listening. He'll know everything about the Beatles. Yeah.
So, yes, Scott will let us know if that is the case. But it does say here, Abbey Road is the last recorded album by the Beatles,
Really?
released.
Oh.
I'm sure. Abbey Road was last recorded. Yes, Scott.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
Not Let It Be? Oh. Okay.
Let It Be must have came out after the Beatles broke up. 1981, Nolan Ryan sets a major league record by throwing his 5th no-hitter. 1984, the United Kingdom and China agreed to transfer sovereignty over Hong Kong, and that was to take place in 1997, and it did take place in 1997. There's a movie about that, right, Don? Is there a movie about that?
No, not that I know of.
Thought there was a movie about that.
Okay.
Um,
And then
there might be.
in Portugal,
Heard there was.
Macau in 1999 was transferred over in 1999. Portuguese possession that was on mainland China also.
All right, real quick. Birthdays. 1925, Marty Robbins, American singer, songwriter, guitarist, and actor. And also, he was a race car driver, which I didn't know. That was something interesting. That was something interesting that I didn't know about. Also, a race car driver, Joe Nemechek. His birthday is today. He is 57, or 58 today. And part of the Nemechek family in NASCAR. A part of another family is Daniel and Henrik Sedin, the Sedin twins, Swedish ice hockey players for the Vancouver Canucks. Born on this day in 1980, so they are 41 today. And deaths on this day, Paul Newman, American actor, director, producer, and businessman, known for Newman's Own, his line of food. Paul Newman, Newman's Own, line of foods like pizza, other things like that. He passed away on this day in 2008.
I love Paul Newman. Paul Newman was awesome.
Yes, and he was a great businessman as well. His line of foods is great.
Yeah, it was a movie. It came out in '94. I believe it was '94 with Jessica Tandy and Bruce Willis, Melanie Griffith, and a bunch of other cast of characters too. But it's called Nobody's Fool. It is a beautiful, beautiful movie. I cry every time I watch that. It's so touching. If you've never seen that movie, Nobody's Fool, Paul Newman, Jessica Tandy. It's based around a little New York town, I guess Bath, New York, there is a Bath, New York, and over the Catskills maybe. But
Program, we'll be back next week. Next week it will be October 3rd, a new month. Spooky season. The spooky month of October. So we'll talk about October next week on Middleboro in Review. All the events going on in October. So there's a bunch going on. So we'll be back next week, October 3rd, 2021. Have a great week, everybody.
you want to try to call you?
Yeah. Yes.
I thought I heard that.
I have to
Who was it?
really quick. Pastor Van Cross. Bye-bye, everybody.